Hey, I'm Harry Mays, and I'm comforted at this bye week at 6-2, knowing that the Eagles have already beaten Tampa Bay and the Rams, and they control their own destiny for the 1 seed with Green Bay and Detroit on deck.
I'm Jason Martinez, and I'm just comforted by the bye week because I, like the team, could use a little pause in the season to regather.
And I'm Louie DiBiase. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable about the Eagles cornerback group after trading for Michael Carter.
There you go. I'm Mark Farzetta, and for the next hour, not only do we provide you guys with fine Eagles content, but my wife has to take care of both my small children who have strep throat and are at home right now. So this will be my favorite hour of the day. This is Locked On Eagles Squad Show on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel.
Fly, Eagles, fly. It's the Eagles Squad. Everything Philadelphia Eagles every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the city of brotherly love. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Eagles Squad Show starting now.
Welcome into the show, everybody. First off, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen, all right, Harry, Jason, let's welcome back Locked On the Ouija.
Yeah.
It's good to be back, everybody.
Oh,
Good to be back.
great to have you. Oh, how you been? What you been doing? You been exploring?
It's been a crazy few months, but man, just doing everyday shows. I've got Jason and Harry on Sundays, but I'm glad to be back on the weekday squad.
Oh, this is so great to have you back, brother. Make sure you guys, of course, are liking and subscribing to Locked On Eagles YouTube channel, where, of course, your man Louie DiBiase has you covered each and every day with your Locked On content surrounding your Philadelphia Eagles. First time squatting up in the non-postcast situation in quite some time, so great to be able to catch up with you, Louie, and pick your brain when you cover this team daily.
Stretch, yeah. He's nice and loose.
That's right. I'm ready to go.
Well, we made it
a 40-yard dash here.
He got off IR now. He's ready for the second half of the season.
It was short-term IR.
Yeah,
right. Came off the PUP, actually, so I missed the first month.
He sent us a text a couple weeks ago that said, hey, they're opening up my practice window. I said, great.
Right.
Let's get to it. There you go.
We were a little cautious. We wanted to keep me healthy for the playoff run.
Right.
Since I'm a running back, going to be taking a lot of carries here. But, I'm good to go. I'm feeling fresh.
Well, you better hope they can open holes like they did last game against the Giants.
That's right.
Somebody say bell cow. Bell cow? Bell cow.
Yeah.
I think I'm more of a third down back like Will Shipley. I don't think I can carry a backfield.
Specialist.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll direct the first question to you there, Louie, because when we were all squatted up throughout the summer and we were talking about the Eagles' defensive back position and nickel position, safety position, all that stuff, there's one guy in particular that you were banging the drum for, and that was Keely Ringo. Since then, the Eagles have attempted with Jacorian Bennett here. He's been hurt. Adoree Jackson, epic fail. Keely Ringo fighting the good fight. Cooper DeJean, of course, holding down his own when he's on the outside in base coverage, but mostly at nickel. And now, most recently, the Eagles have added another defensive back, more of a nickel than a corner. Michael Carter II is here. Louie, I'll ask you this question first. How do you think this affects the cornerback room? And how also do you think this affects Cooper DeJean?
Yeah, I think this does mean that plan A is to move Cooper DeJean to the outside now with Michael Carter in the slot. Over the last 4 years, he's played 85 to 90% of the time as a nickel defender. And he's had some good seasons, only 26 years old, but injuries have kind of had him be up and down the last year and a half. I think the plan is for 2025, the best case scenario, the best combination of corners you can have is Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean on the outside, Michael Carter in the slot, because, let's face it, they weren't going to go trade for a Denzel Ward. The Seattle Seahawks were not going to trade a Reek Woolen, and I don't think the Eagles would have wanted him anyway. So when you look at what options were out there for outside corners, I think DeJean on the outside and Carter in the slot is a better idea than what else the alternative would have been. So, yeah, Ringo's had his ups and downs. I thought he had a really good game against the Giants, but it was against not great receivers. Overall, that musical chairs of him, Bennett, and Jackson, I don't think any of them would have been consistent enough the rest of the year to resolve that, where Fangio could commit to just one guy moving forward. So I think they had to make some sort of move, and I think they acquired the best player they probably could at the position, regardless of inside-out versatility.
Is this Howie fixing a mistake? Miscalculation?
Yeah, I think that's the only way to look at it, and I think he's looked at a lot of them like that, especially when you talk about the fact that this is a guy that, per NBC Sports Philly, 2,212 snaps at the nickel, corner, position in his time with the Jets. That's what Michael Carter II has logged. 2,212 compared to 46 total snaps on the outside. Now, Jason, this is also on the heels of Vic Fangio just saying on Tuesday, well, I think Cooper DeJean is a very versatile football player, and I think he's just a football player. Sure, we don't want to move him away from a spot where he's great, but he could be great at a couple other positions. I think that laid some foundation for maybe the expectations when it came to the Eagles potentially trying to upgrade that defensive back room.
Yeah, I think that Howie looked at everything. He looked at scenarios of players he could acquire where he could keep DeJean where he was, and he looked at scenarios like the one he pulled with the Michael Carter move because he had to make there's a cost analysis and an assessment. How can I improve this defense at the littlest cost and make it better for the stretch drive when we come right back out with Green Bay on the road and Detroit after this bye week? It's the perfect time to make a deal too, because you can let a player come in and get settled in. But you got to make that assessment. He goes, okay, I can try and find an outside guy to keep DeJean where he is, but maybe that's going to cost me too much. So that cost analysis and what was available too, obviously, all went into it. And this is what he came up with. And they'll move DeJean to the outside. And it's a little bit of a question mark, right? I mean, you're moving the position. You don't think it's any question mark?
No, I think that kid can play anywhere you asked him to play.
I agree with you, but he hasn't yet. So until then, we got to see.
Well, how about this? My observation is Farzetta says this is the best hour of his day, and we welcome Louie back, and he blasted him with Keely Ringo out of the chute.
He did not hold back. I mean,
Jesus.
I'll eat the crow, but geez, right off the bat after missing a month.
Walked right into a cannon fire.
Farzy had that on the tee for the last 6 weeks. He couldn't wait.
Yeah, he's got a Post-it note on his computer
last night.
When he comes back, I'm going to kill him.
He was so excited when he found out I was coming on. He's like, it's time to hit him about Ringo. But I will say, he is right to bring up Ringo more than Jacorian Bennett and Adoree Jackson, because this move is fixing the Ringo part of this, because I do think Ringo was at the forefront of Howie's strategy this offseason, letting Darius Slay go, kind of lowballing Isaiah Rodgers on any sort of offer that he did make, which it sounded like they made some sort of offer, but it wasn't competitive with Minnesota. So I think it was about Ringo. And again, he's had some ups this year. I thought he had a good game against Tampa Bay. I thought he had a good game this past week against the Giants. But then you look at the game on Thursday night against New York, and that kind of player can't be out there for a playoff run. So I think this was a correction about the Ringo investment. And long term, though, I still hope DeJean is the plan in the slot. This is just the best you could do for 2025.
Well, that being said, then who's the next guy up? Is it Jacorian Bennett, cornerback number 4?
Sounds like it. I mean, Fangio's talked about him a couple times over the last few weeks, saying they still want to give him a good look. They don't really know still what they have in him, but Carter is by far the best player. Him versus the field of those other 3, Carter, I think, by far has the highest floor of any of them.
Well, this is a Joe Douglas move. I mean, we know that
true.
Joe Douglas picked him, I guess, out of Duke a few years ago. I think he was at the Jets then, and it's like a kind of an easy transition, an easy deal to make, and they give up Mechie, and they flip late round draft picks. So Mechie was kind of unused, really. I don't think they had really a place for him. Unless somebody got really hurt and they were really in dire straits at the wide receiver position. So I like the move. I mean, you're trading a guy who really wasn't doing much for you, and you get a cornerback that you need so badly. So hopefully the kid can stay on the field and continue to play.
I think that the way Dotson's played has made Mechie, a guy that could.
Well, and they like Cooper too.
Yeah,
and Cooper's back from injury.
Yeah.
And we thought maybe Mechie could return punts, and he didn't earn that job. So his value and stock was down with the Eagles. So how he flips him as part of this deal, likely just a salary part of the deal. But hey, look, I don't think Howie's done by a long shot. He still has a few days. I imagine his phone is still piping hot.
Yeah, he's got plenty of work ahead of him. And I think Howie's had a couple of, drat type of moves. Like, for instance, you let Mekhi Becton go. Tyler Steen obviously hasn't played to that level. You obviously let Fred Johnson go only to have him reacquired. You trade away Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and you get back Kenyon Green, who we haven't seen.
Right.
There's a couple of moves through here. Tank Bigsby gets brought in. supposedly just to be a kick returner. That doesn't work out. He's muffing kicks, unfortunately. Then you see him actually run the football. Maybe it took him a while to actually learn the playbook. A.J. Dillon didn't work out. Tank Bigsby might work out in that situation. Yet you don't have depth at the defensive end position. You thought you had a little bit by bringing in Azeez Ojulari. He's been a big disappointment. It took him about 3 weeks to actually get activated. I mean, let's face it, this has not been, as far as bringing in talent, an impressive year when it comes to Howie Roseman and
Zadarius
what he's
Smith,
done for
too.
this team.
Brought in
Zadarius
and
Smith
retires 2 weeks later.
In
That
and
was
out.
weird.
In and out. Yeah, in and out. So it's a really rough. It's been a rough couple months here for Howie Roseman in terms of what he's been trying to get done for this football team. But you look at Tank Bigsby as potentially the backup running back. That looks like they had solved that problem, hopefully through one game. We hope for more. Then you also look at it on the other side of things when it comes to what you could be able to do in the kick return game with Will Shipley, punt return game when you talk about a guy like they just his name's escaping me right now. They just Xavier Gibson returning punts for you potentially. And now you got a guy who I think makes you better by being able to play the nickel position and then not just use Cooper DeJean as the outside corner, but also use Cooper DeJean potentially if you need him a little bit later. Don't feel like Drew Makuba is evolving fast enough as the season goes on. You can have him go back there because, Harry, I agree with you. I think Cooper DeJean is like a whatever type of player. Need to play safety, whatever. Nickel, whatever. Outside, whatever. Now, linebacker, I got
He's
you.
Malcolm Jenkins.
Even in
He's
a pinch.
new Malcolm Jenkins. He could do anything you ask him to do.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I agree.
Pretty much. Yeah. So, look, do we agree? And Harry, I'll ask you this first. This has been, I think, a down year for Howie Roseman, and I think there's one caveat to it. They've never spent money on a running back. They're doing that now. They've never spent money on a linebacker. They're doing that now. This looks like how the new version of their cap strategy is going to be allocated. So there's been a lot left to be desired as far as new talent brought in here to help this 2025 Eagles team.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the drafting has been really good. I would, but it's the outside, sort of the ancillary moves that last year pretty much all hit. And this year, it's been a lot of up and down. It's been an up and down year. I'll say up and down because the team is 6-2. It hasn't really affected them too much in the win-loss column. And based on the way they played going into the bye, if they can continue that, I don't think it will affect them either. I think they're pretty good going forward. I like the young players that they've drafted on this defensive side. I pretty much I'm pressing yes on every one of them. I think they're all a hit. They just need you're going to need some of these guys like Brandon Graham. It's hard to believe that we're sitting here, going into the second half of the season saying, man, if Brandon Graham can give him 4 or 5 sacks down the stretch, what a boost that'll give this pass rush.
Yeah,
because you start banking on 37-year-old guys to help you. That's the iffy thing. I feel really good about moving Cooper DeJean to the outside. I trust he's going to be able to play well there. Whether Brandon Graham's going to be able to give them what they need, that will really bail out Howie Roseman if they can. What if he can't?
Yeah.
What if he's hurt in 2 weeks and done again? You know what I mean? Like then you're sitting there saying, what do we got now, Howie? Because now we're after November the 4th, and that's why I agree with Jason. I don't think he's done yet.
Yeah, I think he grabs another pass rusher, to be honest with you, because of that exact question mark. There's an old line of thinking. The moment a professional athlete considers retirement, he is mentally retired.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
You're never the same when you even consider it. This guy actually did it, retired the whole thing. He didn't just think about it. But he may be able to buck that trend because of the way he is as a player and the way he is, kind of the energy about him. So maybe he can buck that in a shortened half a season in the NFL with a team maybe that can win yet his 3rd Super Bowl where he's been very involved. So, but banking on that, I don't think Howie banks on that. I think Howie likes insurance policies. He doesn't like to put his money at risk. And he knows this window is right there with this. How much longer can Saquon go at this level? I know you're paying him a lot of money now, but how much longer can he? Running backs tend to drop off pretty significantly.
Well, I can only think to the end of this year.
Exactly.
I can't think beyond that.
Yeah, so
really. I don't think he does either.
But you got a quarterback in his absolute prime right now. You know your window is wide open, so you don't take any shortcuts And any consideration, if Brandon Graham comes back, you got to consider he might get hurt and maybe he's not available or maybe he's going to be no good.
Would you be surprised if he flips Dylan and a draft pick and try to get something else in here? I'm not saying Dylan
running
gets
back
you much.
or defense.
No, a defense.
Yeah,
that's a player that's expendable now.
Yeah,
right?
I would. I mean, he's giving you. It was the one game he gave you a little bit in the kick return game because he failed at the other job as the backup running back. So yeah, I think he could be in play for sure. But I just feel like Howie's burning up the phones. He's definitely not done. You're not going to leave any stone unturned.
Adding another player could always help, obviously. I guess I'm in the minority here where I'm kind of happy with where they're at with their edge group. When you look at Nolan Smith's coming back off IR, Jalix Hunt's had 2 back-to-back really impressive games. He leads the team in pressures. Josh Uche is the 13th highest graded edge rusher this year, according to Pro Football Focus. BG is the 4th guy, considering how good Moro Ajoma's been on the interior, and I think Jalen Carter is only going to get better as the year goes on.
Ajoma's been really good.
Yeah, I don't know. And Jordan Davis has 3 sacks already. I'm kind of good at pass rusher. If they were going to if they bring in somebody, I'm totally cool with that. You can never have enough of those guys. But if Howie was only going to make one move before next deadline, I personally wanted it to be a cornerback because you cannot trust Bennett, Ringo, or Jackson down the stretch. But for me, I don't know. I think their roster's set up pretty well. I think he has more misses, Howie Roseman, that is, this year than last year. But this type of offseason after a Super Bowl, when your roster gets more expensive, you're going to have more misses because you're going to take more flyers, short-term contracts. Higher
guys
risk.
on depressed value.
Yeah, like Josh Uche, no guaranteed money. Let's see what we have in a former second-round pick. That move actually did work. Did Ojulari work? No.
Not yet.
But I think Tyler Steen's actually been solid at right guard, and the draft picks have been good. So I don't think it's been Howie's A-plus type of offseason, but I still think the roster's in pretty good shape personally, considering a lot of the young guys that he banked on outside of Ringo have panned out. Jalix Hunt has taken that step, and so has Moro Ajoma and Steen to a degree. So yeah, it's been not an A-plus offseason, but I don't think he's in the C or D category either.
He sets a bar. You come out last year with 2 rookies and
that's the thing. He built the greatest roster of all time last year.
How are you going to do it
comparatively? Yeah.
Starting 22. Starting 22 last year was the greatest roster ever. 2017, I still say is the greatest full roster ever because they had to go down deep into the depth chart to win that. Halapulavati Vaitai, you're starting.
Oh, yeah.
But
HPV.
When you look at the 2023 roster, that was an offseason after a Super Bowl where Howie did not do enough, and there were clear issues. Even though, I think Mark's right that there are some players right now, they're I don't love when they're out there, but I don't think there's any spot where you're saying that's going to kill us in the playoffs now that they did address corner. That was the one spot I personally was this might cost you a game at the most important time.
That was the Achilles heel.
Yeah, that's what I was extremely nervous about.
Well, what if you have to go? I mean, I don't know. What's the status with Juergens? Because what if you have to go Toth, for an extended period of time into the second half, and it gets real right away? It's Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas right out of the chute.
But Toth
Buffalo still this
hurts
year.
Under center because he can't long snap. He's not a good shotgun snapper, and Hurts is better under center.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Toth: if you're going to have if you're going to have your first start of the season, first start at center, and you have your best running game of the season, finally, that's a good feather in the cap for Brett Toth. I'm not saying he did everything, but I'm saying you definitely didn't have it. At any other point this year. I mean, you didn't even average 90 yards per game as with the team with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. Then you have 2 100-yard rushers in the same game.
Coincidence?
And there's exactly. And there's one play in particular that sticks out to me, and it was the second possession of the first quarter. So you have the 65-yard touchdown run by Saquon Barkley. Then the Eagles run that screen play where they pull guard, center, guard. Toth's one of the first guys down the field. Gets the dream scenario of having to block a defensive back. He just takes him out of orbit, basically, and they get 12 yards out of it. Now, it's not a huge home run of a play, but when you're not used to seeing the screen game, when you're not pulling the way you normally do, and now you're playing the center position, you see Dickerson, Toth, and Steen get upfield to try to make blocks. That's getting on the same page as these other guys to understand what the assignment is. So I don't look at Toth and go, I'm concerned. I did learn something, though, about Cam Juergens that I found a little bit surprising. And I didn't realize this. But when you talk about interior offensive linemen, Cam Juergens is, I believe, in the top 10, I want to say, is in terms of win rate which I was shocked. Now, however much you want to put a stock into win rate, I didn't expect him to be anywhere near the top. So
So
I
that
guess he's played
includes
better.
like centers and all guards. You're talking
Centers and all guards,
yeah.
interior
Okay. Wow.
offensive linemen. I was very surprised to
That
learn
is
that.
surprising.
And I still think Cam Jurgens is talented as anybody, but it's about health. And I don't
Right.
believe he's close to even 90% for what he's been able to do to this point this season.
No,
Yeah.
that back injury from the NFC title in the Super Bowl definitely have held him back this year. I think that's part of why right now you just shut him down for a little bit and get these guys healthy for the stretch run. Because Toth, like Mark said, the film shows he was pretty good with those outside run zone. I cannot say this. Run zone concepts. Jesus. But top 5 overall grade from PFF for Toth. So he was not the liability that I thought he was going to be. That was very concerning before the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, now he had the back that you're talking about in the offseason, but now he has a knee injury on top of that. So
Yeah, like, do you feel like you're waiting for the press release that he's been shut down for the year?
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
I hate having that kind of anticipatory feeling negatively for a guy like that. But yeah, like I really hope that's not the case.
Along those lines, I'm waiting for the press conference after the bye week where they're like, yeah, we're really going to take our time with Cam, that kind of thing. Like after you have a 240-yard game, whatever it was on the ground. Yeah, we're going to take our time with Cam. We know he's great, but we just want to make sure that he comes back healthy and is 100% for the playoffs. And all that stuff.
The urgency's a little gone after that game.
So say you lose that game or even against Minnesota and you're 5-3, 4-4. I think it's a whole
you're in the
story.
mushy middle now.
Yeah.
It's such a huge difference.
Absolutely. All right, when we come back, I want to ask you guys, in the post-bye week world, what's one ask? What's one demand? What's on your wish list that you need to see from the Philadelphia Eagles post-bye week? We'll kick that around when we return. This is Locked On Eagles Squad Show on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. And right now, let me tell you about PrizePicks. As a matter of fact, this show is brought to you by PrizePicks, as is your crossover shows, brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks is such a good time. You need to take advantage of PrizePicks. If you haven't tried it yet, PrizePicks is the simplest way to play. Pick more or pick less on at least 2 player stat projections. And if you get them right, you win. Yeah, it's just that simple. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere. PrizePicks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. I've been using PrizePicks for a long time now, and I have so much fun. Very simple. Pick more or less, and you win. New Stacks feature is a game changer as well. You can now pick more on Steph's points per game in the NBA, for instance, on threes, as well as assists and all that great stuff in the same lineup. For Steph, you can talk about points, threes, and assists all in the same lineup. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves your lineup from a loss. How great is that? Download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL. That's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. One thing in the second half of the season. One thing, gentlemen, in the second half of the season that you want to see from the Philadelphia Eagles. Anyone want the first bite of this one?
I'll take it.
Oh, I have my hand up.
Okay. You had your hand
Rock,
up.
paper, scissors.
All right.
Yeah. Harry jumped off the bench like Malkin did the other night before I got my arm fully extended there to go on the PK. What I'm looking for in the second half is less noise around the team, less drama.
Love
Wait
it.
a second. You and I are working with Johnny Marks on occasion here. We need the drama.
I am no longer beholden by the talking points of the day for 20 hours a week. I want less noise. I'm not asking Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown to go out to lunch at Panera and have a soup and half a sandwich combo or anything like that. No. They don't need to get along. They don't need to like each other. They just need to respect each other, and they just need to be able to coexist in a way that's positive for everyone, including Kevin Petula and the usage of A.J. Brown. Because let's face it, I think A.J. Brown feels disrespected and all the flowers that Hurts is getting locally. And frankly, I would feel a little disrespected too, being the type of receiver in my prime, 28 years old, making the money I'm making, to not be targeted in 2 of the first 8 games until late in the third quarter is not that is malpractice. So I think everybody needs to take their ownership of their piece of this and just bring the noise level down.
Well, according to one of the guys that covers the team on a daily basis, A.J. Brown is holding Jalen Hurts responsible for not putting him in line for a gold jacket, and that's the issue.
Yeah, it's legacy because
Jalen
A.J.
Hurts
Brown's won.
Hasn't Jalen Hurts been the quarterback for him through 3 All-Pro seasons, 2 of which he had over 1,400 yards?
I'm just going on what we were told.
The Jalen Hurts, by the way, that's had a perfect passer rating essentially in 2 of the last games. One of them of which A.J. Brown had over 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, I'm kind of with Jason, but I'm specifically pointing at A.J. Brown. Like, I can understand like the first 2 games why he was upset, but I need you to figure out, A.J. Brown, the rest of the way, what you're upset about. Like, is it about the quality of targets? Is it about the amount of targets? Are you not boys with Jalen Hurts anymore? Like, what is it? Because this team has tried. They have not turned on him over cryptic social media posts, even after wins now, which is a whole different ball game.
Right.
They have had his back and have been totally understanding. They've force-fed him the football in that Denver game after he posted that tweet about essentially wanting out. So for A.J. Brown, like, I can get the ups and downs, the inconsistencies of this passing attack and his involvement, why that can be frustrating. But this can't happen every single time. You eventually need to come to some sort of conclusion about this, and not every time it doesn't go your way. When most of the time in Philadelphia it has gone your way, you instantly do this again. So like, I can relate to him, but I feel like the social media posts and the drama that's surrounding this is self-inflicted at times. So I think A.J. Brown just needs to figure out what he wants.
Yeah,
do you want out or not? And if you don't want out, you just got to stop doing this, because there's other guys too that want the ball. There's a lot of stars on this offense, and they don't do this. So you can be frustrated, but be frustrated in a different way.
And be frustrated after the next Super Bowl. Then they can get ready in the offseason if you really
we move on.
The grass can always be greener. Do you really want to go to the Jaguars and play with Trevor Lawrence? I mean, like the Eagles are not trading you to Mahomes or Allen or Lamar. I just think you could do a lot worse than what you've done with Jalen Hurts.
Peyton Manning talked about that. Like, he's got to realize the grass is not greener.
Do you want to go back to Tennessee and play with Cam Ward? I mean, is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, too, is like, what teams can fit him, and where would he make sense in the deal anyway? He's not getting dealt, so it's not even worth the conversation. But you're right, Louie. Like, they all got to have some kind of come to Jesus meeting and say, we accept this, but this we don't accept, because this is the thing that can derail us from the ultimate goal. These constant distractions and cryptic tweets and all this stuff, like, it's just got to stop. Like, okay, we're going to try and do this better. You need to do this better. Let's all come to agreement on this and get through this season, and then we'll sit down and talk about the future. But you're here now, and we're going to try and win now, and we need everybody to zip it a little bit. They really got to have a come to Jesus meeting and get this under control, because I think it's the biggest impediment for this team in being able to go back to a Super Bowl and try and repeat.
And maybe they don't care. Like, maybe the Eagles truly don't care what he posts on social media, and he is a great teammate in the locker room, and he's not pulling a TO, yelling at, McNabb on the sidelines. But for me, I can't imagine this doesn't affect them at all when, like, let's say you're Jahan Dotson, right? And you touch the football once every 5 games.
Yeah,
and A.J. Brown just had 120 yards and 2 scores, and he's going on social media right after the game and being like, using me but not using me. If I'm Dotson and I've been a great teammate and I'm a former first-round pick that doesn't touch the ball, I'd be pretty pissed off. So I don't know. I can't imagine it's not affecting them at all.
Oh, it is. I mean, look, for the people that are like, this is all off the field stuff, let's go back to that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. Remember those 3 throws in a row targeting A.J. Brown where he clearly wasn't open, clearly didn't have the play, and they kept on forcing it to him? Jalen, I'll say Jalen kept up. Look, I don't think it had everything to do with it, but I certainly don't think it had nothing to do with it. It is affecting the product.
Look at the Pittsburgh game last year, Mark. Like, this all
exactly.
happened after the Carolina game, and all they did that for 4 quarters was throw A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith the football. So it does affect them.
No, it absolutely does. And the other part of this is, AJ, you went silent for a couple of weeks 2 years ago. I don't have any problem with you doing that again. For For anyone that wants to put words in his mouth, I was never for that. I never spoke for him. The only thing I said is he probably has nothing nice to say, so he doesn't want to say it. And that I applaud.
It's maturity.
He came out and literally said at his locker during that press conference, I had nothing nice to say, so I didn't say anything. I'm like, good for you. And now, instead of saying nothing, he's acknowledging there's problems. He's making problems by being public with it, but not saying what the problem is, which is just flat out drama. That in itself is drama.
And then when he does, like, I really liked what he said after the Tampa game to the media. Like, he was very open about, yes, like, I want the football when the offense is struggling. I want to feel like part of the solution. I'm like, okay, perfect. Like, I totally get a receiver not being involved that is that talented, wanting the football and being frustrated. But don't do that and then go on social media like 2 weeks later and say they're only using me when they need saving. It's like, that's what you just said in the locker room 2 weeks ago you wanted. So I just need like a clear message from AJ Brown and this up and down stuff to stop. And I don't know if it will, because it's been, like Mark said, 2 years ago this was happening. So it's been like 2.5 seasons of this, and maybe they just accepted it. But
yeah, like for me, like I don't need to know. Like I don't need to know all the details. It's not my business. But they need to figure it out. And I'll know that they know when this stops. That's the only way we'll know, right? Is if everybody's kind of just they need to get very business-like when they return. Now we're down to the second half. We're 6-2. We're in position. We got Green Bay. We got Detroit. We have tiebreakers over the Rams and Tampa. Like, let's get down to business here and just let's buckle down and finish this. Let's keep everything in the locker room, and we'll deal with everything and do everything we can to put ourselves in the best position from a coming together standpoint and a culture standpoint to go out and try and win again. It's so hard to win, right? You beat Kansas City last year. You can't have this stuff going on the outside.
Well, don't you think if you're A.J. Brown, or you're A.J. Brown's camp, that after the trade deadline, when you realize you're still wearing Eagle green,
settle,
that this has to stop just because there's no point?
Well, you would think that, Harry, but these are receivers. They don't think rationally.
Yeah.
But also, he's on a team with Bama and Georgia players that are so wired differently that I think he also feels vilified in this city because it's like Devontae Smith will never do this, and he's kind of like, I'm the only guy that feels this way. But that's the team that you're on, so you kind of have to embrace that, or you don't. Maybe the Eagles just accept that and they don't care because he's worth it, which I think he is with the talent, but. Again, like Mark was saying, I think it impacts their game plan, and I do think it would impact some players on the inside.
Maybe but it wasn't therapy, Harry.
It was pretty funny, and I know we talked about this on the postcast, and I know there's not a camera trained on Jalen Hurts 24/7 when he's on the sidelines. But I saw him having fun with another wide receiver in Dotson, ironically, of all the guys. The guy got like 1 or 2 targets the entire day, scored a touchdown, and they're yucking it up on the sidelines. When did you see him doing that with AJ or anybody else? He's always sitting there like staring off into space in his own world. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, them laughing, because I was thinking the same thing. Jalen had pretty much zeroed in on Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, and then a couple of dump offs there to Saquon Barkley, the one screen pass to him. And then finally, Dotson got a look, and then he got his second look of the game on the touchdown pass that he absolutely made the far better play on. I mean, Jalen put it downfield, but that ball was an interception if it wasn't for Dotson making the aggressive play, and he got the touchdown. Then you see him on the sideline, they're smiling. Yeah. I was like, oh, look, like for another team in this city, the 76ers, okay? You're watching them, they're having a blast playing together. Yeah. I don't see enough of that when it comes to the relationship between Jalen Hurts and his receivers, generally speaking. I see it with Jalen and maybe the offensive line.
I see it with Saquon Barkley.
I see it. I was just going to see it with Saquon Barkley.
He's out there pumping up Tank Bigsby when he's coming off the field, and
Yeah. Meanwhile, somebody else has, either physically last year or metaphorically this year with their nose in a book.
There's just clearly resentment on both sides of that.
Yes.
That relationship.
Harry, what's on your wish list for after the bye week?
I was thinking about this, and I'm going to go a little bit maybe outside the box in that I think the Philadelphia Eagles are the only thing that can stop the Philadelphia Eagles at this point, at least to once we get to the playoffs, but the rest of the regular season. So I'd like to see better first down production across the board. And one way to do that is to really eliminate these pre-snap penalties. I've seen way too many pre-snap penalties on the offensive line mostly, or, illegal motion, illegal formation, whatever it is. Those things I know drive a coach nuts. They drive me nuts as well. And I think if they can eliminate that and get better, first down production, they're going to be in a whole lot better shape going forward.
If we had a Locked On Eagles squad show, hidden cam in Harry's lair, pointing directly at either the recliner or the sectional during a game, cocktail in hand.
No,
anytime
cocktail in hand. I got to do the postcast with Luigi and you.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But if you had it, anytime there'd be a false start,
drives me bananas.
You get an audible. Jeez.
First and 15? Are you serious?
Bang on the coffee table. Jeez. Harry would be the greatest guy to be an offensive coordinator to have that camera trained on up there.
Totally.
Yeah, he's up in the booth.
Or the offensive lineman that gets a yard downfield and they call back a play. Oh, that drives me insane.
Because he didn't time it right.
Oh.
To the head shaking. Jeez.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's it.
Yeah.
Great.
Lane had a penalty on the second possession.
Mm-hmm.
It goes on. Especially, and I'm just looking at this Giants game. Steen had a penalty. Mailata had a penalty.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy. One.
Dude, this guy is out of control on our chat. Roseman should be demoted. He ain't a football game. Dude, zip it. He's a Hall of Fame GM. Come on.
Are you in a time machine? Is the year 2013?
Yeah,
what's going
Chip
on
Kelly
here?
just left.
Yeah.
He's still just emerging from the broom closet.
Yeah, we're going wall-to-wall coverage.
Like Andy Dufresne from the sewer drain.
This guy just watched an ESPN segment that said the Eagles signed Nnamdi Asomugha.
Wow. Yeah. Didn't they bring in Sua Apeta? Didn't we talk about that a week or so ago as an offensive lineman that used to be here, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Huh. There we go. Harry, I'm kind of along the lines with you, and it has to do more so with just the overall offensive line play. And I don't think that the standard of play, I don't think it's fair to measure the Eagles with their standard of play of what they did against the Giants. I look at it as the get-right game we hoped that the first meeting with the Giants would be. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that, unfortunately. Second game, in between there, you see the Minnesota Vikings. The passing game gets on the same schedule. That's great, same page. Then this time around, you see the run game look pretty damn good. And, by the way, Jalen Hurts also threw for 4 touchdown passes. That's also pretty good. But if I could see the Eagles using this game to build off how they're going to get the run game going from this point on, only more things are going to open up for A.J. Brown, for Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert continuing the tear of a season that he's on right now. I look at the O-line just really getting healthy and then also capitalizing on their assignments when it comes to just getting rid of people. If I could see like a 65-yard run, Landon Dickerson has not done this a lot. On that run, Landon Dickerson got on the double team there on the defensive tackle, made it next level in the perfect amount of time as we have a guest on the show. There we go. Put the cap down. And he makes the block up field and springs Saquon Barkley for 65 yards. That is exactly what I want to see more of in the second half of the season.
It looked dominant, didn't it?
Oh, it did. It absolutely
It took
did.
right back to last year. I mean, even a little seal block on the outside by Devontae Smith was get my hands inside, perfect, release, he's gone. Like that was beautiful, and it felt so good to see it. Yeah, question is this rotation of personnel on the offensive line going to allow it? That's the real big question, right? So we'll see where it goes, but I agree with you. If they can run the ball, it just opens up so much more for those receivers because it just moves everybody up.
Louie, what are you looking at?
I think for me on defense, because obviously the A.J. Brown drama is what everybody's watching, but like on the field, once these edge rushers come back, Nolan Smith comes off IR, Brandon Graham joins the fold. So suddenly you have a pretty deep 4-man rotation of Smith, Hunt, Uche, Graham. Okay, now Jihad Campbell's been playing on the edge as a necessity. With Nakobe Dean back, they've been trying to find ways to get both of them on the field. Moving forward, once the edge group is healthy, I want to see Vic Fangio come up with a plan that makes sense for how they are splitting reps between Dean and Campbell, because I did not love that late in that Giants game, when it was still a little bit close, in obvious passing situations, there were times Jahad Campbell is not on the field and Nakobe Dean is out there. Nakobe Dean is a great player, very underrated on this defense, has really helped the run defense the last 2 games. But Jahad Campbell statistically this year has been the best coverage linebacker in football. I get having Dean on the inside when Campbell's on the edge, but I do not want Jahad Campbell off the field in any situation, and he's the future of this position. Nakobe Dean's a free agent next year, and I don't think they give him an extension, so you don't want to think long-term with personnel if you're Vic Fangio, but for me, like, I want to see Campbell continue to grow as an inside linebacker, and I don't want to see him get, like, sure, if it's a split and, you know, they are going to both play, that's okay if it's kind of even, but I don't want Nakobe Dean out-snapping Jahad Campbell like he was against the Giants, especially when it's, like, in obvious passing situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. And that also speaks more of the versatility, too, that Vic Fangio was talking mostly about when it came to Cooper DeJean, but also talking about when it comes to Jahad Campbell, how if he looks like, basically to sum up what Fangio said, if he looks like he's struggling a little bit at the edge position, it's because he is struggling a little bit at the edge position. He hasn't gotten a lot of snaps there at the pro level. So that's going to be a work in progress. And they're down so many outside linebackers that you're seeing Bond go more to that position, Campbell go more to that position, and Nakobe Dean play more in the middle, similar to the way he did against the Giants. So we'll see how the Eagles build from that point on in the near future. When we come back, we'll talk about a potential next move, and we will answer the question as to whether or not the run game has taken a huge step forward after the Giants game. All that and more when we return on Locked On Eagles Squad Show on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel.
All right, I got to tell you about Mazda because on this show, I'm the Mazda man. And Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride. With more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anybody else. That's as of August 12, 2025, too. From footwork to breathwork, athletes, they sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Nappa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive, standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail at Mazda because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved.
And welcome back to Locked On Eagles Squad Show. Jason Bertitas, Harry Mays, Louie DiBiase. Gentlemen, when it comes to this Philadelphia Eagles team, and it comes to the next move, edge rusher, Louie, is something that you mentioned earlier when it comes to the trade deadline coming up on Tuesday at 4 o'clock, I believe it is. Is there anyone you're eyeing up that can make this team better immediately?
Yeah, for me, again, I'm pretty comfortable with what they have on the edge. So if they're going to make a trade, it's got to be a pretty substantial upgrade. So, you know, I don't know at this point. He's dealing with an injury, and the Bengals do business very weird. But is Trey Hendrickson available after they – like, if they would have beat the Jets, I think he's off the table. But after they lost that game, again, this would be the most Mike Brown thing ever, just to let him walk and not get anything for him. But Hendrickson, like, that's a type of move. Okay, I totally get upgrading there. You're okay right now, but you could be even better. Like, I would say Hendrickson or a Bradley Chubb from the Miami Dolphins. It would have to be a pretty substantial upgrade to make a move right now, and I think those are the two that come to mind the most.
Yeah, that would be the splash move.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And both of those teams, as you know, when you say losing to the Jets, I think that really tells the Bengals that this year is probably another lost year, but given the fact that Burrow is still a few weeks away. Flacco's hurt again, so they're in dire straits. And then Miami, they're going nowhere anyway. They'll probably lose on Thursday night, and there might be firings. There might be, who knows what happens with that ownership going forward here, because I think that coach is a dead man walking at some point. So Chubb or Hendrickson, I'm totally agree, because it's a position of need. It would be a big splash. Both those guys, I mean, significantly are significant upgrades at the position.
Yeah, one thing that I don't want to hear after the trade deadline is how Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith were big upgrades for the rest of the season.
Right.
I hate when they use an injured player that's coming back as, well, it's like a trade. Yeah, but it's not.
Right,
Like you knew you had that. You had that in the back pocket the whole time. How do you make it even better? And I'm not going to do cartwheels over Josh Uche. He's played better than I thought he would, and I am a little surprised he's playing better than Aziz Ojulari. Aziz Ojulari, when healthy, has been a good player, but that hasn't happened, and now he's hurt again. Brandon Graham is certainly not the cure-all for it.
No.
I do believe he makes your room better, but I don't think he's going to be a savior to this defense. So please don't tell me that, oh, well, you got Nolan Smith back, so now you'll be fine. No, you had a depth problem even before Nolan Smith got hurt. So I would love to see Howie, if he's got to move a third-round pick, and the Eagles have multiple third-round picks in this draft. You got to move a third-round pick to make sure something happens now. I think you got to part ways with that to make this team better now, because as we talked about earlier, this is a Super Bowl window the Eagles are going through right now with this team as it's together right now to win another Super Bowl. Yeah, that damn right. Let's get greedy. Let's go for back-to-back if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go for a dynasty if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. Now's the time. The iron is red hot. It's piping red hot. Solidify every position, if you can, the closer to the playoffs. And I do not want to hear about Brandon Graham being a huge upgrade, because he's not going to be. He's going to be an upgrade, but not huge. And I don't want to hear about Nolan Smith being like a big acquisition at the deadline. Jason, is there a move you'd like to see the Eagles make to improve upon what they have right now?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like a little bit more. I mean, look, you got to go based on what's available. It takes two to dance, right? So if you can say, yeah, I want this, but if it's not out there to be had, and the other teams know too what the Eagles need and are going to try and hold them up and get the most value possible, because they also know the Eagles' Super Bowl window is open. And there's teams in the NFC that aren't going to want to deal with the Eagles because they don't want it to come back and haunt them. So you can only do what you can do, because you have to have a partner in this. And there is a tipping point to it, any deal where you go, yeah, our Super Bowl window is open, but we also can't go that far in trying to acquire this. So I'd like for them to secure that edge rusher position, because, I don't know that Graham's going to come back and stay healthy. 37-year-olds don't stay healthy more than they did when they were younger. It just doesn't work that way. So I'm a little nervous about that. I know Louie's not. I am a little nervous about that, because if he comes back and he's unavailable, then what do I have? Nolan Smith, if he comes back and he becomes unavailable, I'm where I am now.
Yeah.
And I'm not comfortable where I am now.
I get that. I think both of you, I'm not saying you're wrong, and you can never have enough pass rushers. I look at it this way. The Eagles won a Super Bowl last year with a 3-man edge rotation of Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, and Jalix Hunt. I think Nolan Smith was playing really well before he got hurt. I think he'll be as good as he was last year, if not better, when he returns, now that he's fully healthy. You look at who Josh Uche is right now, I think he's a similar player to who Jalix Hunt was last year as a third man in the rotation. The big question is, can Jalix Hunt be who Josh Sweat was down the stretch last year? The more he's played this year, the better he has gotten. Can he be that go-to number 2 guy, or is he more of a third guy like Uche is, and you need to bring in a Chubb or a Hendrickson to be that, Great Batman or the Robin to Nolan Smith's Batman? And I personally think that Jalix Hunt can do that, especially with the way he's played the last 2 games. So I think the big question is really about how much you believe in Jalix Hunt, because outside of that second spot, your first and third spot in the rotation is kind of the same as it was last year.
Have we given up on Ojulari?
I think he's a fine 4th or 5th guy, but I don't think he's going to play now with Brandon Graham back.
The Eagles weren't apparently the highest they were on him was when they signed him, and ever since then it's been like, not the right one. But I will say this: edge. So here are the numbers: edge rusher win rate. All right. By the way, Josh Sweat is 4th on this list.
He's had a good year in Arizona. Yeah.
Yes, he is. No Eagle is on this list for edge rusher.
That's that meets the eye test, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, this is the rare example. Numbers never lie, but they can deceive. Here they're not lying and they're not deceiving. This is accurate. But defensive tackle, I mentioned this earlier. Jalen Carter is tied for 7th in the league in win rate. Moro Ajomo is 9th. So your defensive tackle is clearly the bulk of the workload and the bulk of the success. And this also is Jalen Carter not playing.
It's a down year for him. It's a down year for him thus far. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And then we could talk about offensive line and all that, but just as far as the guys on the edge, they ain't doing it. The guys that are carrying the weight are the same guys for the most part that carried the weight, a big bulk of the workload last year even, which was your defensive tackles. But this time, instead of it being Milton Williams, it's Moro Ajomo.
If the Raiders wanted like a first-round pick for Max Crosby. Like, are you going that aggressive with a pass rusher, or
I thought Jerry Jones is getting him.
which is hilarious considering you could have just paid Parsons?
I know.
I'm curious because, yeah, I mean, adding that kind of edge rusher, I'm totally in with. Like, I'm definitely down for that idea. I just don't think adding in somebody like, I saw a suggestion about Cam Jordan from the Saints, like bringing another veteran presence, a Zadarius Smith type of move.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really moves the needle for you enough because you have a bunch of 2s and 3s in this rotation. Unless you're getting that true alpha, I don't know if Howie Roseman really does anything.
Like a game changer. I can't go first round pick unless it's a game changer with term.
Right. Like Crosby's the only idea I can think of like a big blockbuster trade.
Yeah, because you do need to start using your first round picks to replenish offensive line too.
Yep.
They
That's
haven't
the
been
thing.
in that.
Yeah.
That's a thing. So you got to weigh that. We're in the window now. Sacrifice. Credit card bill comes due with interest eventually to the moment. So where he goes, I don't know, but I'm not parting with a first round pick unless it's a guy I know that's going to help me this year in a big way and beyond.
They were willing to trade for Parsons, by the way, before the season started. So
Yeah,
anybody
that
that
tells you
says like
something.
they won't bring in anybody with a big contract, Howie was willing to make it work before the year. So you never know.
And Myles Garrett, they were in on Myles Garrett. They were making calls on him too.
That guy, I never want to hear him complain again about the Browns losing
He took
games.
the money.
You could have made the
Neither
same
do
amount
I.
or
Yep.
maybe lost a couple million somewhere else. Like he complains every game, and
Yep.
it's just so frustrating.
Yeah. Oh man. I can identify though. You lose a couple million. It's tough. I mean, just
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I've
When
lost
you
a couple
40
million.
plus
I never
million
made a couple
year,
million,
it's
but I've
probably
lost a
nothing.
couple
It's
million.
like losing a dollar.
that's the way
to
to Jason, that's the way to say that. I like
Yeah.
that. That's great. All right. When we come back, we'll take a look at the slate ahead because, of course, it doesn't get any easier. We'll talk about
It's
that run
fun.
game a little bit as well. This is a quick blink of a break, so stay right there. Locked on Eagle Squad Show. And just like that, welcome back. Welcome back. I gave you this number earlier. I said Cam Jurgens. I think I had him in the top 10. While I have the win rate numbers in front of me, I want to hit it again. Cam Jurgens, 11th in the NFL, interior offensive lineman, pass block win rate. That's what you got going on there with him.
Let me bring
now
up something real quick.
Go for it.
Jalen Carter. He's missed 2 of the 8 games. He's in the bye week now. One thing I didn't mention that I want to see in the second half, I want to see him absolutely dominate.
That's a good one. I agree because he hasn't.
The wear and tear is not there as much. He called that week when he was out with the heel or
He had a
whatever.
heel injury or something.
Yeah, and the shoulder. I expect him to come back after the bye week, having played only 6 of 8 already, to have a monster second half of the season.
Yeah.
Because we know the trickle-down effect, if he does, how much it helps out everybody around him.
Yeah.
That's a big element to me, too.
That heel injury, or just hearing the heel, that worried me for a while because that a lot of times gets related to the Achilles.
Yep.
A weakened
That's
Achilles.
a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy coming out of a 3-point stance,
Like
explosive.
he shot out of a cannon.
Yeah. Get real low. There's a lot of pressure that's put on that Achilles area when you're in that position and exploding. So, yeah, that is concerning. But the fact that he's got a little less wear and tear on him at this point in the season, and they're 6-2.
Yeah.
He could have a monster second half of the season, like just be an absolute, farm animal out there, and everybody around him will benefit.
Absolutely. Speaking of the second half of the schedule there,
How fun is
Green
this,
Bay-
right?
at Green Bay, Detroit, at Cowboys, Black Friday versus the Bears. That's a Sunday to Friday, okay? Then travel cross country at Los Angeles for a Monday night game. Vegas, I can hear the letdown game. I can hear the trap game conversation going on already.
Yeah.
Then at the Commanders, at Buffalo for a nationally televised 425 game. And then you wrap up against the Commanders. It doesn't get any easier. We used this word when we talked about the schedule when it originally came out. And the word was unrelenting. Now would be a really good time for the offensive line to figure it out, to get healthy and figure it out. Now would really be a good time for Saquon Barkley to go out there and do his thing and show at least a semblance of what he was able to do last year. And if he can't, a guy like Tank Bigsby be a little bit of a change of pace. Similar pace with the way he runs, but still be a guy that could change things up a little bit just by being a different back. It does not get any easier as the schedule goes on. Now you have opponents that are likely you're going to face in the postseason. You were able to handle your business in the early portion of the schedule by taking care of these guys. Now you got a team in the Detroit Lions that a lot of people wanted to see you face in the NFC Championship game last year. They choked it away with turnover after turnover against the Commanders. The Packers still the Packers are still butthurt over the tush push. So hopefully you go out there and you handle your business against them as well. But Harry, when you talk about the run game of this Philadelphia Eagles team, this is a squad that right now needs to figure it out, because not just like trickle-down effect like Jason was mentioning there with Jalen Carter in the defense, but you could do so much more as we saw last year with Saquon and this run game, Harry, getting back to what we saw last year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I mean, for a one game, they did in spades with 2 100-yard rushers, but in no way do I think that it's fixed. I need to see them beat, what I think is a quality team, and Green Bay is that team coming out of the break. If they, I'm not saying they're going to have 200+ yards rushing against Green Bay, but it would be nice to see Saquon have hit the century mark again in that first game back. And then I'll start to maybe believe that they've got the running game solved.
Yeah.
Louie, when you look at the run game, how confident are you that they've cracked the code?
For me, I'm pretty confident because I think it was more of an anomaly they were struggling than it is that they would be back to being a top-tier rushing attack. You look at last year, and they were the best rushing offense maybe of all time. They really have, outside of Mekhi Becton, they haven't lost pretty much anything from that personnel. And like everybody's talking about, they're going to get healthier. Saquon, Bigsby's a nice new element. In RB2, they haven't had a guy like that as a backup running back since Jordan Howard. Everybody's sense has been more of a receiving, smaller type of back like Gainwell, the Shipleys of the world. Yeah. I also think what's going to add to this rushing attack as the season goes on is they're going to be willing to use Jalen Hurts more with designed runs. I don't think they've really used him as a part of the run game a lot this year as much as they have in years past. And I think that's on purpose to keep him healthy. Right. Yeah. So I think you're going to see more of him be part of the option game in the shotgun. So I think that'll also help, because when Jalen is part of that run game, you're kind of playing 12-on-10 football, and it makes it a lot tougher to stop. So, yeah, I think it was more strange that they were struggling than it is if they suddenly turned it around. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
How about the play after Hurts took that awful sack and lost 20-some yards, and they give it to Bigsby, and he runs down to the right side of the sideline and gets a first down?
Yeah, let me tell you, I love that play call.
I was
love
stunned.
That play call.
It is funny that I think they traded for him to be a kick returner, and he's the worst thing I've ever seen there. Yeah. Suddenly, though, he's the best second running back you've had in years. Since Ajayi and Blunt?
That's interesting you say that, because I was watching him do that. I'm like, well, first off, they gave up 2 picks for him. Mm-hmm. Didn't they give it 2? Wasn't it a 5th and a 7th or something like that?
Yeah.
Too late round, yeah.
So I thought they're not doing that for a kick returner, but they're so desperate. Mechie's not a kick returner, but they had Mechie come in and try to return kicks. Mm-hmm. And now he's gone, obviously, in the Carter trade. But then you see Tank Bigsby actually get a chance to really run the football. And it's like, damn, that guy that you saw a couple highlight reels from in Jacksonville looks like he might be able to run the football. So my question was, did he just have that much trouble digesting the playbook? Because he in no way, shape, or form, Louis, to your point, I don't think he looked like a kick returner at all. And to see Nick Sirianni on the sidelines, not cursing him out directly, but you could see how frustrated he was by Tank Bigsby muffin kickoffs. Is this guy just having trouble learning the plays? Because once he got under center, or once he got in the backfield there, he looked like he knew what he was doing.
And now I think this is the first time since probably when it was Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard in 2019 that I feel like if the Eagles starting running back went down, they have a guy that could carry the backfield. Again, Kenny Gainwell, if Saquon or Miles Sanders or DeAndre Swift ever got hurt, I don't think he can be a bell cow. I don't think Will Shipley can be a bell cow. I like that they've almost kind of reversed the roles for Bigsby and Shipley. Shipley had a great game against the Giants.
2 big returns,
kicks. And Bigsby's more of the classic RB2. So I kind of like that switch. And I'm confident now that Saquon pulled that groin in the second half. If that happened, knock on wood, but if he did have to miss some time, I don't think the Eagles' run game would suddenly just plummet like I think it would with the other personnel they had.
Fair enough.
Let me say one more thing.
Go for it.
You have a quarterback in his absolute prime right now. In his last 19 games, Jalen Hurts has a record of 16-3, a 69.6 completion percentage, 3,650 yards passing, 29 touchdowns through the air, 2 interceptions, 3 lost fumbles, and he also has rushing the ball, 674 yards and 17 touchdowns. He has 46 touchdowns to 5 turnovers. That is the factor. I mean, off the charts for all the crap he gets. Look at you're talking about 4,700 total yards with rushing and passing and a 23-1 turnover ratio from interceptions to touchdowns. That's
One question.
Ridiculous.
One question. Is he the guy? All right. All right, that's another Locked On Eagles Squad show. We appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for all Locked On Eagles Squad shows, as well as postcasts following Eagles games with Louie, Harry, and Jason. Louie every day for Locked On Eagles on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel right here. So make sure you guys like and subscribe for all that and more. For Jason Martinez, Harry Mays, Louie DiBiase, I'm Marc Farzetta. I'll be back with you guys next week. Look forward to it. Have a great rest of your day. See you guys. Bye-bye.